any fans of irony, this is the face-to-face meeting about online bridge that we're going to have. So I'll just go through a few things first, but the whole point of this is actually a discussion. We want to get people's opinions. We want to have some conversation about this topic. So I'll kick off. So who are we? We're a group of people we've put together by the ABF to look at online bridge and the implications of how all of that's evolving for us. Jenny Thompson, I'm sure everybody knows. Bill Jacobs, Matt Galumphy, Liam Milne, who is most certainly in the middle of concentrating on some hand about 4 boards from the end of his session at the moment. He's going to be here to help us take notes and things. And the person you don't know is me. So I'm Mark Guthrie, and I'm louder? Yes. Not loud enough? Okay, I'll do my best. So I'm Mark Guthrie, and I'm here just to facilitate the conversation for you. I'm involved because I'm a bridge administrator rather than a big, wonderful bridge player like the other people we have on the committee. So what are we doing? Well, we're going through a process of trying to listen to people. So we're doing a session here where we want to get your input as much as possible. We'll do the same thing with the Gold Coast. And then we're also going to send out a survey which will target at bridge players and also bridge administrators. So people running clubs, people running state bodies. So we want to try and get as much opinion as we can. We're going to create a task force, so encourage everybody to complete the questionnaire when we send it out. But if you've got interest in being involved beyond that, please put your hand up to become part of the task force. The steering committee, or whatever we're called, isn't enough people to do everything, so we'll be looking for others to come and help us. And we're also talking to others, in particular New Zealand. So in New Zealand, they're probably a year ahead of us. They started this about a year ago. They're getting towards the end of working out what they think the implications are, and they're coming up with strategies and things. And we intend to use a lot of that. But it's actually very important to go through the process. So it's not just having a strategy, it's actually having people's voices involved, getting engagement, and working our way towards it. It may end up being very similar to what New Zealand's doing. We're not too different from them, but we want to go through the process. So that's what we're doing. And then, of course, why are we doing it? Why has the ABF asked us to do this? Well, COVID had a massive impact on bridge everywhere, but definitely in Australia. And a lot of games moved very, very quickly to be online, and that was very disruptive. So there's a lot of change and turbulence, and then not only these things happen, there's been moves in bridge over time. They tend to take decades to happen. In this case, it was more like days and weeks as a response to COVID. And we now have a bunch of clubs that play only online, we have a bunch of clubs that play face-to-face, and we have a bunch of clubs that do hybrid stuff. We want to kind of understand what the implications of all of that is. So really what we're trying to work out is, what do the ABF need to do differently in response to the shift towards online? What do you want, and what do the administrators of clubs and states want? Now, it's difficult to have a discussion on a sort of blank page, so we've got a few talking points to kind of get you started, and then I'll hand over and you guys can do the talking and tell us what you think. So I'll just rattle through these. So online bridge is actually quite a polarizing thing. Some people think it's the greatest thing that's ever happened to bridge, some people think it's the worst thing that's happened. So we're going to have a range of views. What do you think? How should we approach having 2 different forms of the game? Do they need different rules? Do they need different approaches? Do we encourage one over the other? If we do, which one? So there's a whole lot of sort of topics around that. And what about different types of players? Does it make a difference if you're a Congress player or a social player, if you're a beginner or an improver? Does the format of the game make a difference? And how have you personally been affected? Has your club been impacted by COVID? Are the numbers down? What's your club's response? What's your response? What do you think needs to be done about it? And also, all of these things come with opportunities and challenges. So what are the good things we can take out, and what are the things we need to worry about? Can online bridge be used to funnel people into playing face-to-face? Is it a better format for people to learn? What do you think about it? Should we use should we generate some of the revenue from online and use that to support some of the more struggling face-to-face clubs? But what should we do? And really, I guess what we're really trying to get to is, as I said before, what do you think the ABF should be doing? So that's basically it. I'm not going to talk anymore. I've given you enough. I'll facilitate trying to have the conversation, and maybe we've got the chairs kind of wrong and we're all sort of facing the same way, but actually what we'd like is for people to tell us what they think. By all means ask questions, but I won't answer them. We're not here to define my opinion, we're here to define yours. So if you do ask a question, we'll direct that to the whole group. So all I'd ask is, with the range of different opinions, please be polite about other people's views. You have very different views, I expect. But we want to kind of respect people's views, and so it's not chaos. Only one person talk, and if you want to raise your hand when you've got something to say, I'll point at you and you can tell us what you think.
Hi, can I just suggest for the task force that there is someone on it that represents country players?
It might be better if you stand up and face it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just want to suggest for the task force that I have someone that represents country players, and also someone that represents someone from the youth area that understands what the youth think and want.
I think online bridge is great, but there are some things that you have to take into account. And one of them is that there is a huge amount of cheating available, and you've got to address that. And one of the ways to address that is not to award huge master points for it. Right, at the moment, I believe the ABF is awarding equal master points for online bridge and club bridge. And I think what you need to try to curb it is to have a separate class of master points, calling them orange master points for online bridge, for example. And for various categories, I believe that should be limited to before you're a life master, only 10% of online bridge should count, as they do for other categories. I mean, it needs policing, that's the problem. I mean, I love playing online bridge, but I hate it when I come across a pair that I know is doing something untoward. If you could police it, that would be excellent.
How do you know?
Oh, you know that what that lead was just not possible. They make 3 leads which can't be accounted for on their hands. Just play BBO.
So you can't see or hear the people? BBO? Real bridge online, so
Okay, speak towards us, please.
Yeah. Okay.
And this is Ron Klinger speaking, for those who don't know.
On a real bridge, for example, then in theory you can be seen, but people mute themselves. People turn their camera off. You can't see whether somebody's telephoning somebody else.
You could still cheat. Yeah.
Cheating is a big problem.
Rakesh?
I'd like to say something wearing a sort of bridge administrator hat. I'm Rakesh Kumar. I'm the Southern Zonal Councillor for New South Wales Bridge Association, and therefore, since I volunteered to join the task force, hopefully I will address one of the points that's raised by representing non-metropolitan players. I have experienced the polarising effect of online bridge when I tried to organise a championship across the zone. And almost all of the clubs that I dealt with, and both Liz and Karen, who are here from my zone, will attest to this, all the participants said, no, we want this face-to-face, which is how it ultimately happened. It had to be put off for 2 years, courtesy rolling COVID stoppages. When it eventually happened, it was great, but online bridge is seriously polarising, and perhaps more so outside the metropolitan area. So that's all I'd like to say about it.
Hi everyone, my name's Alex Jones. I've been on the bridge scene for about 5 minutes, and you know, it's a little intimidating actually coming into this community with all these people who've known each other for 20 years.
Can you stand down the front? We can't hear, sorry.
Okay, so please please take my well-intentioned comments as being well-intentioned, but my view is it doesn't matter whether online bridge is something we like or we don't like. It's not the future, it's the present, you know. I go onto YouTube, which is how my daughter accesses games, and I look for bridge and I find engineering things with suspension bridges, right? But if I look for chess, I find all these young streamers who are there showing what they're doing in the game and how they're thinking, and all the other young people jump on board and look at that and they get inspired. The only person who's doing that is Peter Hollins, right? Poker, same thing. Like, all gaming now is online, and whether we like it or not, if we insist on going down this path where we're making it harder to access for everybody, then this game is going to die with all of the people who won't do online bridge.
I fully agree.
David Hudson, I'm a retired administrator from the North Shore. I just think we should focus on the incredible opportunity here, and I take all the points about the problems, and we need to address those. But Real Bridge is a very low-cost platform, and other platforms I'm sure are low-cost. The technology is there now to present a fantastic experience for the bridge player, and it could be profitable. So the thing that grabbed my attention in your comments at the start, Mark, was, you know, maybe running things that and funneling the profits back to the clubs, because if it's got that ABF imprimatur, or and you know, across the pond, and it could be congresses on weekends online in the off weeks, from, you know, and obviously the scheduling is going to be very, very difficult, but the opportunity here I think is enormous, and the opportunity to make money and funnel it back to the clubs and keep them going on the face-to-face side. So I think it's just and you know, reading a book on, there's a book called Killing Fairfax, and it's all about how all of these online, or all of these previously fantastic revenue streams in real estate, cars and all that, just got killed by these startup ventures. And they're now massive companies and far exceed Fairfax and all the others. And the same sort of opportunity exists in online bridge, but it can be done in a way, I think, with the ABF and the New Zealand Bridge imprimatur, that funnels the clubs, funnels the profits back to the clubs, and in that way, you know, supports the face-to-face operations of the clubs as well.
Very good.
Marjorie Askew, I'm from Ballina. We're a big-ish club, 250 to 300. I agree with David, was it, who's just spoken. At my club, most of our members tweak online. Some play on step bridge, some of us play on real bridge. We get the opportunity to play at the North Shore Bridge Club or the association, which is great. But the majority of our members who are playing bridge for social reasons want to come to the club. So, you know, I think both have to go forward hand in hand. I think online bridge is wonderful. We have technology adept people, but we don't really want to learn the, you know, we can direct online, but we don't really want to learn how to manage real bridge or whatever. So I say, I think the two have to go forward. I think online's great. I think real bridge is great. Ron made some points about cheating, but we have cheating at the table, don't we? Heaven forbid. So I think it's great. Clubs are struggling, we all know that, to try and get our numbers back up. And that's what our committee is really focused on, you know, getting people back to the club, getting people connected. You know, we used to be a young bridge club when I was in my 40s. Now we're all in our 70s, but you know, that's bridge, face-to-face bridge. I don't think there's a great future for face-to-face bridge for younger people because, as you said, they're into games online. And people, the stuff Peter does is great, people enjoy that. Don't know how you make a living out of it, but people enjoy it. And all the facilities, you know, for learning or for watching Peter's stuff, that's great for your beginners coming through too. And if they're under 70, they're probably computer savvy just about. So I think it's great, go forward with both.
That's what we were next. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm Val. I'm a club player, and I've been playing for about 25 years. And what I see missing is I was about 40 when I started playing. And we all used to do very busy jobs and somehow make it to the bridge club 2 nights a week and play on Saturdays. I don't see that now when I go along. There's hardly any evening bridging on the Gold Coast where I live now. I don't see very many young people on a Saturday afternoon if I play. So I think not only do you need to have some teaching online as well, not just the playing online, to try and engage that group, you know, the 30s to 50s, because the people coming on to lessons are all in there, they're sort of retired, most of them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll give someone else a go, Rakesh, and then come back to Gillian.
Hi, Julian Foster. Most of you probably know me more in the context of my ABF. That's not what this is about. I think going forward, one of the big issues is going to be sort of clubs and players or areas fighting for territory. This is sort of something that I believe has come up in the New Zealand context. In the face-to-face world, you might have 2 clubs in fairly close proximity, and there's sort of rules and regulations around you don't want both of them running a congress on the same weekend because they'll just cannibalise each other. In the online world, of course, the geography is irrelevant, but you equally wouldn't want 50 clubs all around the country running the same congress at the same weekend. So there's something I think the task force is going to need to look at longer term, is sort of how they both fit together, which is a challenge. But it's silly to have 50 6-table congresses instead of 2 30-table congresses, because it's always better with the bigger events. And so I think that's a challenge, but clearly there's a place for both. Online's not going away, nor should it. So.
Yeah, interesting. Okay, Rakesh?
Just a small counterpoint to a couple of the issues raised before. I think we need to be particularly mindful of the social aspects of bridge, and of that in the context of who are we able to recruit these days. It's quite clear that our traditional recruiting efforts are failing with recruiting younger players, and clearly what's been discussed in terms of video channel recruitment might be a whole lot better. But various people have identified pre-retirees as our next big target potential market. And you asked in your talking points about what should happen in terms of teaching that group. And I believe the social side of bridge is a big deal there, and face-to-face lessons and getting people together and giving them a chance to get to know one another is something we shouldn't forget about.
Hi. So just quickly, the rest of my team that are playing here today are all from Newcastle, and I said to them before I go to this meeting, anything you want me to say? And they said, yes, more online bridge. Right, that's right. Second thing is that my local club is Mollymook Bridge Club on the South Coast, and we experienced originally the same as what Rakesh said. Everyone is very reluctant about online bridge. And basically the reason was that they just had never tried it, and they were nervous and scared about trying it. But between Peter and myself, we introduced them to BBO, we showed them how it works. We introduced them to Real Bridge, we showed them how it works. And we schedule all our sessions when there isn't a normal club session, because we don't want to compete with the club, obviously. And people love it. So it's a matter of, you do have to personally, in the country or with people that are not experienced with online, you do have to personally introduce them to the system and make it fun for them and enjoyable, and then you'll have them. So.
Jane, did you have your hand up?
Yeah. So from a youth, I agree with quite a few points that have already been made. From a youth perspective, I think it's good because you can connect youth from all over the country. I think that's the biggest thing in online bridge. But the thing that's lacking so much is actually giving them a chance to have a little chat and actually connect. Because you play on Real Bridge, you might sit down, you might be able to say hello, but then you don't actually get to say, oh, where are you from? Nice to meet you, that kind of thing. That's what I find. I've been very lucky. I've been able to go all over the country and meet quite a lot of you and quite a lot of players and actually connect. I think that's a little bit lacking in the online bridge, and I think it would be good to bring a bit more of that in to connect people from Newcastle, Kalgoorlie, all of the outer reaches that may not necessarily be able to come in and play, you know, in your major Sydney, Melbourne, Perth, etc. I think that's a massive part of it, and yeah, I think that's what it's lacking.
Thanks, Jane. There was one of the back there.
So, hi, Karen Creech. I really just want to follow up on that and say that I really think that it's a really fantastic opportunity for the ABF and other associations to use online bridge in the teaching arena. It's been raised a bit, but I'm down the far south coast, for example, and I know that a lot of the clubs are struggling in terms of resources for teaching, and it is an opportunity, and by using it, I think you will actually educate people to use it as well. So you're teaching them bridge, but you're also teaching them, hey, this is the way we do it. So a mix of both. I obviously understand the other thing. And again, from a regional perspective, on the youth side, one of the big troubles we have down there is that if a youth person walked into our bridge club, they'd walk straight at it. You know, let's face it, you know, that the community there is, you know, I'm a spring chicken sort of thing, you know. So I think that's another point just to make, that therefore, I agree with Jane, connecting, we all love it, the fact that we've known each other for 30 years and watched each other get fat and old, you know, like, that's great, but I do think in the youth arena it's a real opportunity. Yeah.
Phil, you had your hand up a couple of times.
Yeah, Philip Haller, and I'm from the New South Wales Bridge Association, 162 Goulburn Street. We've had our sessions deplete by probably 25-30%. We're down to, we do Mondays, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday mornings. We do a Tuesday night. We get about 7 to 11 tables on a Tuesday night. I think that we still want to play face-to-face bridge. It's still popular at the club. We're getting 12 tables in the Tuesdays and Thursdays mornings that I've played. I think what I'd really like to see, and I can't understand why it hasn't happened already, is the ABF to work out time zones and control everything. I play on step bridge, I play on BBO, I hate real bridge, I hate looking into people's rooms. We've got underpants on the bloody bed. They're just things that I just don't feel comfortable. Sometimes I dress up in a bow tie and a suit, don't have any pants on, but I don't think you should have to go to all that trouble. Now, there's people who are playing face to face. They're the same people who they still write out cheques. They use their landline, and they're not really computer savvy, and they don't want to be. And they, you know, even if you teach them, they're still sort of resistant. They love to, and it's their day out. I've got a couple of 90-year-olds that come to bridge on Tuesday nights. So I'd like to see the time zones, like the ABF do it for everybody. I want to get rid of Real Bridge and Garden Vale, and it's all, if you get a huge following on time zones, like the East Coast or Western Australia, they can't really play bridge at 5 o'clock in the afternoon for them. And even New Zealand, maybe we'd do something with them as well. And you can advertise, if you get that group, like there's 50 tables of step bridge, right? So if you get Australia East Coast, you're going to have 1,000 tables. And you get all the ads, you can say, hey, your clubs, these are the clubs that are playing, you can go and do that. There's a big congress being held at Coffs Harbour. They can all be, you're advertising on your own bit of the internet. So I think that'd be pretty good. And there's plenty of online teaching things. Bridge in 5 minutes, Peter Hollins. And it goes on from there. You don't have to, I don't know what the problem with teachers is. I could tell my kids, just if you're a starter, look at Peter Hollins's 5-minute bridge, go on to some bigger and better things from there. Or if there's, I'm not trying to do the bridge teachers out of a job, but there are opportunities to learn bridge. And the cheating that happens on online bridge, surely it is all, data's all there, you know, every bid, you know, every card that's played. Surely there's ways of telling who are cheating and picking them out and just getting rid of them. Just kick them out. I wouldn't like to see Orange Orange Bridge master points for online personally. Done.
Thanks for that.
Good day. I live in Brisbane, and I play quite a bit of bridge, have done for a long time. I love online bridge. I now often play in North Shore Club in Sydney, online with my partner, who lives in round here.
Tell us your name.
Tony. Anyway, that's it.
Hi, I'm Peter. I just wanted to give sort of my wish list of what I'd like to see from online bridge. The first hurdle that I see people have is like the new player experience. They might watch a video and like, here's a lesson. And a great way for them to do is go to clubs. But what they'll instinctively do is they might go onto BBO and play a random game, get told they're absolutely trash, and then give up the game. So I reckon like developing like a pathway where it's easier for them to like navigate into playing like beginner areas, or then you can actually get them to go to a club or something like that. The second thing that I'd like is that I think like some tournaments that are held online that have like face-to-face finishes where you can go play a qualifier and then that gets you to a actual go and then enjoy some live bridge where you can actually socialise and do that. Had two more. Blank, I'll come back.
I have one thing. I have one thing over here.
Who was first?
I just want to raise the directing aspect of it.
Yeah.
I live in Mackay, which is in North Queensland. North of Gympie, we are in the dire situation. There are no directors left. We have one director, and he wants to retire. We have one couple who direct, and they want to retire. So we cannot get congresses directed north of Gympie much now, online and in real bridge. We need to do something about that. The ABF needs to start, and the QBA needs to start thinking about the directorship problem. We can't cover it. So I think online bridge is probably, because you've got directors who are centrally located, that's easy, much simpler to actually manage that. So that's one of the major aspects. It's also something we can use to teach directors. It's a much better way of learning than trying to do it on the job, I can tell you that. I've tried that. So anyway, that's one of the aspects. The other aspect is the social aspect someone raised. Yeah, I've got 90-year-olds. They're big outings that come to the club. They still drive a car, but they will not, they're probably using still pounds in their bank account, not even dollars. They will not touch online payments. They will not pay with a credit card. It's cash or nothing, but they will come to the club and they will play because they want to meet people and be with their friends. You've got to keep that alive or else we lose the lot.
My name's Jeff, and I had a bridge club before COVID, and all my income was through face-to-face bridge. COVID completely knocked that over, so now I'm a hybrid club, and I specialise in teaching beginners. And before I run courses, I send out questionnaires. Overwhelmingly, new players are using bridge as an activity for expanding their social circles. Right, so it's partly bridge, but it's just as much about meeting other people who are like-minded.
Yeah.
And I think that online tools are great for teaching, but they sort of miss out on that sort of tactile side of it. So I think overwhelmingly the information I'm getting from my prospects is that they certainly want to learn face to face.
Out of interest, Jeff, where's your club based?
Melbourne. I'm Garden Vale. And look, that was a lot. That deal that we've got with the ABF, it was a lifeline, and it also kept people engaged. I know the players now are more inclined to want to do face to face, but there's certainly a huge number of people who like the convenience, They still don't feel safe in the face-to-face environment, and online bridge is here to stay. With regard to cheating, I've done a lot of looking into. I've got a very big online presence. Overwhelmingly, the people who are accused of cheating, I think, are poor players that make poor plays, and when an experienced player plays against someone who makes a poor play that's occasionally successful, the allegation of cheating just flies straight away. And yeah, look, I think overwhelmingly that's the case. I've spent a lot of time as well investigating accused cheaters and just can see incompetence. Right? There's a bias. You know, if someone gets a good result against you, right, there's a bias to say that they're a cheat, and if someone gets a bad result against you, they're hopeless. That's me.
We're out of time. I'm going to take a couple more, and I really want to know what Pete's last 2 points were.
The first one was, there's some people that want to like create online stuff and have a passion to do it, and I can tell you from experience it's nearly impossible to start. So I'd really love like the ABF to set up a if you want to create something or you want to do something, they'll then email it out. This is what they're doing, or
enable the people.
give
as well.
skills training for perspective. Yeah, like if other people want it, I'm happy to tell individuals what I do and things like that. But they also need to be able to spread the word. Like getting the first 5 viewers is way harder than getting the next 100 or something. Yeah. So just something to get that started. And I also think that some online tournaments I'd love to see for playing just some shorter sessions. So one thing about online is convenience. You might not want to commit to playing 3 hours online. Maybe if it was just an hour of bridge, you could then jump in, play that, get a small fix, and yeah, I'd love to see those options.
And Peter, that's very successful in the US.
Bridge Association's already running that as a 12-week tournament in seasons, 4 seasons per year. We started exactly that, 12-board competition.
Right, I don't want to be accused of delaying the bridge, so we will stop it there.
Thank you very much.
There's plenty of opportunity to provide feedback. You can talk to any of us on the steering committee. We will send the survey out. Please complete that. And again, we'll be doing another session, and I expect a lot of you will be at the Gold Coast, so we're going to carry it on. So thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.